Good afternoon. So I'm going to be provide my reflection for chapter 6 of Carol Dweck's Mindset. I'd have to say it's probably one of the chapters that I have did the most annotating and jotting in since reading this book, because so much of it made me reflect on who I am as a person and in my own personal relationships. But the one thing that continues to stand out to me, that how the outcome of things are usually kind of determined on the type of mindset you have. So when you have a fixed mindset, like it is what it is, or it just was meant to be that way, versus the growth mindset where things can change, things can be developed, all those things, just no matter what aspect of your life it is, or in the world, there's a very big difference between when a person has a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. So I want to share some things that really stood out to me and kind of made me reflect on myself in some different areas that I want to work in. Like, I like how they talked about the lady who got married, and while it was a devastating moment, she used that as a stepping stone to grow. It was something that was out of her control. And so instead of doing like a lot of people do in relationships and start saying, oh, well, I must not be worthy, I must not be this, I must not be that, she used that as an opportunity for a grow up. And that's most definitely what a glow up. And that's exactly what she did. Versus if, like I said, if it was someone who had more of that fixed mindset, they probably just would have went, even though we know she was hurt, but they probably would have could have went off on a deep end depression, and just finding everything wrong with themselves. So I really appreciated being able to reading that story. Some things that made me to kind of reflect on myself is the mind reading. I kind of have this mentality, especially in my marriage, that okay, we've been together for long enough. You know what I like, you know what I don't like. You see what need to be done, and I'm the kind of person, I guess, that when I see that something needs to be done, I just go and do it. And so I kind of expect my husband to kind of do the same thing. It's more like, okay, he can read my mind. You see that this trash needs to be taken out, then why do I even have to say anything to you about it? And the more I read this chapter, it just made me realize that thinking that somebody can read your mind, it most definitely does backfire, when it's just so much easier to communicate and not expect a person to be a mind reader. Another thing is like problems indicating character flaws. That is most definitely something that goes along with the fixed mindset mentality. It says like the second big difficulty with the fixed mindset is the belief that problems are a sign of deep-seated flaws. But just as there are no great achievements without setbacks, there are no great relationships without conflicts and problems along the way. And I think that some people they begin to judge their character when things are not perfect, and when you expect for your relationship to be perfect, when the slightest little thing goes wrong, then you go to questioning your individuality and your character. And so those are more so like fixed mindset versus having that growth mindset. Another thing that I've had to learn along the way, especially like if you've been in relationships where you've had like different issues and stuff like that, is to it made me look back on realizing that your partner is not your enemy. If we're in it together, it shouldn't be a competition, who likes more, who does more, who's the smartest, and just this ongoing competition. So it just made me be mindful of how I approach different situations and how I deal with situations, because I don't want my partner to feel like anything is like a competition. So those are the things that I really took away from chapter 6 that I greatly appreciate. But I will say the thing about chapter 6 is it was the chapter that just really made me do some self-reflecting, and I even wrote down the areas where I had more of that fixed mindset and some steps that I want to take to adopt more of a growth mindset.